everyone doing?
G'day, Mike and Bowtie David.
Hey, Marty.
David.
Mike.
And everybody who starts coming in here, y'all just say hey and where you're from and what's up. Oh, that's Bowtie and Jen. And let us know how the weather is because it's like really hot over here. Did you get any rain, David? Because I know Marty got tons of rain.
No. That storm that just came through.
Yeah.
It's so funny because we didn't get a cloud, but I was in the next county over when the end of a band dumped 10 miles east of us, about 2 inches, but it dumped it. I mean, like in 5 minutes, but that was the end of it. And that was a county away.
Wow. Yeah, that's Florida. But I've got Marty's Garden down here. You guys recognize him. He's been on here before, Australia. And Bowtie David, and he's a fellow Floridian growing down here in Florida. So y'all have any questions? Y'all know Marty does traditional gardening and that, and he's into composting and worms. And David's you grow traditional, right? No hydroponic?
Yep. No hydroponic.
So if you guys
raised beds in ground, I'm trying a bunch of crops.
100. So if y'all have any questions as we go along, go ahead and just pop it in the chat and I'll pop it up here on the screen for them. Hello. And then I know that the title was making money, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to let these guys, we're going to talk chit chat, do a little garden chat, like our garden chat. And then if anybody wants to stick around, we'll talk about the making money thing and the online course. I'm about got it ready. It's a big website thing that you have to kind of put everything together and have like where you can opt in, and it gives you an email so you can sign in to the course and everything. So I'm getting everything set up, and I just thought that would be something simple, but it might take a couple of days.
Always takes longer, eh?
Yeah.
Regarding the weather, excuse me, still this cold thing, flu thing, getting over it. But we just got hammered, just got absolutely hammered. We had my rain gauge was full overnight. And then I did some research and found out just up the road they had 200 mil. Normally our backyard starts flooding a little bit.
Wow.
If we get 100 mil. So just up the road had 211 mil. Someone else had a way to measure larger volumes. I can only measure 50 mil at a time overnight in my gauge. And the backyard, just walking through, like it's about, I don't know, that deep in some spots is crazy. But it's backed off a little bit now. We've just got a big puddle in one corner and the chickens are high and dry. So,
wow.
But we got more rain coming. We got another probably 50 mil or maybe more coming tomorrow. So we'll wait and see if the backyard floods again. But yeah, that's it. That's it there. I think down the bottom where you can see my face, the sort of, you can see the backyard. That's that one in the left corner there, Mike. We had, how do you put it? Basically, I've got these bales around the place, and so the chickens were able to get up high and dry on that. Oh, here it is.
Oh my goodness.
So that's just up the front driveway. Then we come around the slide, and we've got like a big pond going on. It pulled down our marquee.
Whoa.
Wow.
And that was one night of rain, one day of less than 24 hours. It was 12 hours of rain, basically. It come down so hard. Felt like I was back in Southeast Asia during the monsoon.
So 200 mil is just a little under 8 inches. And
I guess, there's 2.5, 25 mil an inch, I think. So something like that.
Something like that.
20, wow.
Yeah, something like that. See, now that's unheard of here. I think you're probably sitting on sand like we are, right?
It's clay where I am.
Mark, Mike, sorry.
Mike.
I'm sorry. Okay. I was looking around. I was checking the chat for Mark.
Sorry, no, Mike. But yeah, you're on sand too, right?
Yeah, basically. It's we're not too far north from here because Georgia's not too far north, and it's all like red clay. And so that was had its challenges, and then you just like cross the state line, and all of a sudden you turn into like beach everywhere.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah.
they're popping in from my channel, so I'm just giving them a wave. That's all.
Cool.
We
Yeah.
can get eight.
Yeah.
We can get 8 inches, and it'll be gone in like 10 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is shocking. I mean, which is, it's great for flooding, but you want to try to keep water in your plant, in your soil, and it's terrible.
Yeah. You just pick it up and it's just like an hourglass. So
Yeah.
you got to put heaps and
Absolutely.
heaps of organic material in there and keep it going.
The bales work really good on top of the sand as well. I had a sandy space that I did before, and just putting compost on top of the bales. It took about a year for it to get into the sand, but after the first year and going in the second year, really good body of moisture that holds into the topsoil doing that. But it does take about a year minimum to get it going.
I've dumped about 160 yards of horse bedding, horse muck compost on my property in a little over 2.5 years.
Yeah, it holds some moisture.
Yeah, this equestrian center beds with wood chips, and then this pile has been sitting there for years, so it is already,
pretty well broken down.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's getting there. There's still wood chips, but anyway. It's amazing.
The more rain you get, obviously, the quicker that breaks down. So you've got a very low rainfall. So
we got pretty high rainfall.
Do you? Sorry, I just thought you said it was.
No, that storm this Debbie that just came through, they didn't give us anything, but we get the little subtropical cells that come across.
Yeah, similar to us, I guess, in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. You're subtropical, right?
Oh, big Shirley wave. Sorry. That's my wife. She does that. Just someone mentioning.
And let me say hey to Becky real quick. Becky, I think you've got some feedback. You can unmute yourself and say hey real quick if you like.
Hi there. Let me see if I can get the feedback off.
It's not too bad. Y'all hear it still? I was hearing like
I didn't hear feedback
when we were talking.
I did. I heard a little bit.
You can go ahead.
Cool. Well, it's good.
Well, just jump in whenever you want.
Yes. Yeah, it's thanks for having us on the show, Mike. If people are watching from my end, I know if you are. I'm just a guest on here, and with Bowtie David. First time I've met Bowtie David, and it's just good to be able to. So we're actually sharing the screen from Mike's channel onto his channel. I mean, from his channel onto ours. So it just shares the same show. So I can't actually gather any of the chats, but Mike will pull that up later on down the line. And a lot of people on my channel know Mike as well. So that's good. So just letting everyone know that, I'm just a guest here and I can't access any of the stuff. Mike's in full control. Keep on growing with Mike Van Doozy. Very good friend. And it's really nice to meet you too, David.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, definitely. And Becky, if you can ever get your mic working or whatever, just jump in whenever you want and just tell us all just be quiet for a second and we'll listen up. And so David, how's it growing? You're like North Florida. I grew up in Miami, and I'm in close to Jax, but I'm almost an hour away from the beach. And you said you're like blocks, right?
I'm 7 blocks from the beach. Yeah, I'm
nice.
just
and
right there. And now,
pretty area over there too, right?
Oh, it's gorgeous. But the thing is, we're surrounded by Gulf on one side and the big, huge Choctawhatchee Bay on the other side. So we have this normally very stabilized temperatures here. And in fact, for the past 2 months, before last week, past 2 months, our lows have been 82, our highs have been 91, almost every single day. We haven't seen anything below 78 for months, and we won't see anything below 78 till mid to late September, because our water is 87 degrees around us, and it stays within 3 to 5 degrees of 87 degrees, the lows and the highs. Now, This past week was hot. In fact, Mrs. Bowtie banned me from. I was supposed to be replacing a fence, and it is too hot to be building a privacy fence.
Wow. Yeah, Yeah, I've actually got to replace mine too, and I just keep putting off. And I'm like, that looks like a fall project.
That's a fall. Yeah, I've got one in my yard. I got to do in the fall.
Yeah.
Grow
Yeah.
snake beans. That's my fun thing when it's really hot. Grow lots of snake beans.
Do they grow good hot?
Oh man, they love it. And like I know you guys can't grow kangkong, but some of the Asian greens, because it's illegal in that area, but some of the Asian greens like the snake beans, man, if you can keep the water up to them, it just gets hot, mate. They just produce like no tomorrow. It's one of the most productive crops I've ever had in my backyard. We did the trial with them last season, and we got tired of eating them actually, but it's an amazing crop. You only need about 2 plants. We had 4 plants, and we had more than we needed. It was that plant,
grows all over the place, and then awesome like white flowers in that too. I don't know what color yours were. Yeah.
There's a white flower and there's a purple flower one. There's a bit of a different colored fruit, not fruit, but bean as well. But the leaves look very similar. I think there's about half a dozen different varieties now that you can grow. But as soon as it starts getting hot, they just take off, and it's really fun because you can do a lot with them. Actually, more so than what you think, and it's a very nutritional source of food. So the snake bean, I'm all over it again this summer for sure, and some chocos as well. Going to grow over some vines. They seem to do pretty good in the heat too.
So these snake beans, how do you eat them? I mean, do you eat them as the individual beans, or do you eat them as like a string bean, or?
You can both, but I actually eat them more like a string bean. So harvest them when they're about half ready, and the more you harvest, the more they just go. We had one plant, it was a problem. We had a bean aphid. We had to rip them out near the end there. But the other, we had 2 crops. The other one didn't even see an aphid on it. They're just super productive. And if you harvest them at around about halfway and just throw them in the stir fries and different meals and things like that, they actually produce a lot of good quality food. And they just, I think they have like an overly heavily fibrous texture either. They're quite sort of gentle on the mouth. I don't like a lot of beans. They're too fibrous. I quite like them, and we're going to do them again this season. And they just grow up a trellis. You can grow them like a little roof, and they just hang down as well. It looks really cool when they're hanging down, and you can just sort of grab them. And they look really good on the camera too, because they're growing so quick, like a microgreen in a way, and producing a lot. And they just it's very visually appealing as well.
Yeah, this was my first year, and they just they'll be this big, and like a couple of days you walk out and you're like, man.
So I grew some Thai yard long beans, and they were a little thin, and the beans were like an inch apart in the casing, but they were a little thin between the beans. Is how does that compare to I've heard of the snake beans. I've just never told, I thought maybe I need to grow those.
Depends on the variety, like I said, but they're all very similar. There's a fair bit of space between the two, but you grab them when you're just seeing a bump appearing in the pod, right? So you're not actually after the bean so much. You're more eating the whole pod and just chopping them up, just cutting them up. I just get scissors, go bang, 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 and just chop into sections and just stir fry in an omelette or any of the sort of like any Thai food I'm making or Asian sort of meals. Even like you can just throw them. Look, you can pretty much throw them in anything. Just depends if you want to go more sparingly or sort of over. But I just found, when that time of year, we grow papaya, kangkong, okra does really well in the heat as well.
I'm okra.
So we go for those type of things in our hot season. And amaranth, I'm not a big fan of eating it sour, but to me the flavor, but it's a really good fast growing crop and has a lot of nutritional values. People love that as a microgreen right through to a baby leaf to a large plant. And there's heaps of different types of amaranths, and we might grow some just to feed the chickens this year. So that's another really good hot weather crop. And the red amaranth looks amazing. Like it's as good as many ornamental flowers. So again, another really good visually appealing food to grow. And we've been doing that for a while now. I've been doing that for a while now, growing different Asian crops in the summer, just for that heat thing. But my wife got me into really growing the okra this year. And surprising how much we were getting okra every day as well. They go nearly as fast as the snake beans.
I'm getting about a pound a day of my okra.
Yeah. So, there are things we can grow in that hotter period. The Aussies that are watching now here, just, it's cold. So they're growing different types of crops like leafy greens and things. So we're at these two different things of you guys are really hot and we're quite cold. So it's a tricky one when you're trying to reach two audiences because they go, oh, we're not interested. It's cold here. No, it's hot there sort of thing. But it's, I find it good talking to other people what's going on the other side of the world during that time.
It's always educational.
Yeah, definitely lots of fun. And
Chinese red noodle. I don't think so. I don't think it's the same.
No. So y'all saw the pictures of Marty, his video.
Yeah, I saw that
thumbnail.
I saw the thumbnail in the middle with those beans on. Those looked really good.
Cool.
I'll have to try those next year.
Cool. And there's so if anybody's stopping in because it said we're talking about how you make money gardening and stuff like that, I'll be talking about that a little later. We had a couple of guests pop on here, so we're chit-chatting with them for a little bit, and we'll get into all that if you want to stick around afterwards. But David, tell us a little bit more about what you do. Like I said, you're one of the new ones on here, and you said you're about 3 years.
I'm 3 years at this property. I'm actually still feel like I'm relatively new to being a successful gardener. I've had little things happen throughout my life that kind of led me to this, but we started growing on a 14-foot patio in our apartment. And about 5 years ago, we were growing tomatoes. I had 28 tomato plants on a 14-foot patio, and I was our property manager's nightmare. But I had cucumbers growing up to the upstairs neighbors, and I used to share my crop with them, and I still share a lot of stuff. But now, we grow. 2 years ago, I know we grew 95 cultivars of 45 different crops, and on our little quarter-acre property, but like okra and cucumbers, we had grapefruit, orange, and lemon trees, and we had a freeze 2 Christmases ago that killed them all. Well, my lemon trees appear to be coming back, but they're going to be years from producing. But I'm just learning. I'm kind of slow to learn. I'm an ADDer. My brain kind of doesn't soak these things in very good, and it takes a lot of repetition. You can ask Mrs. Bowtie. She has to repeat things a lot to me to get them to sink in. And so
regarding the frost, because I just want to dive in quickly and let you keep going. So you said that your lemon trees or whatever got hit by a cold thing. So what happens is when you get cold frost and stuff, like the old days, they used to around grape fields and things, they would get these big hot burners, right? And burn up to try and change the atmosphere. But there is another way you can do it, and bird netting. If you can get a bird netting above it, it'll break up that cold if you can get to it before you know it's coming. And you can do that with a couple of really large tomato stakes in a V and just throw the bird netting over. And that can sometimes save them. People go out and spray it with water. That's not always the best thing. But anyway, that's just a quick tip if you see that coming again.
I'm getting supplies ready for PVC pipe framing and the bird netting of some kind with some kind of heat source. I watch what's that guy? Millennial Gardener. He covers his with the big bag, and then he puts incandescent Christmas lights inside there, and kind of keeps them just warm enough. We actually got hit by our coldest cold in a very, very long, like almost 30 years. And in fact, our zones that changed recently, our growing zones, I think yours may have too, but it changed because that last freeze 41 years ago or whenever it was fell off the data that they go by. And now, as soon as 2 years ago gets put on the data, we're going to go back to being zone 8B. I think we were. Yeah, we were 8B.
Yeah, you guys really push the zones in America. We don't do it so much here in Australia.
Yeah.
We just go temperate, subtropical, tropical. that's sort of it for us. We do it a little bit differently.
Some people do. It's when they ask me, and I just go, I'm in North Florida, and they like get all upset. What zone is it? And I'm like,
the only thing it tells me is how much I need to protect my stuff from the cold. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. The one thing with Florida, like some other places, they're used to snow. They're used to changes of season. We're like, you can grow like almost all year round, and you can go like years, and then all of a sudden it's like the bottom falls out for like one night, and you're driving around seeing everybody's banana trees are all dead. All these plants are just like, the next week there's just dead stuff everywhere. And we just had 1 day of cold. Yeah. 1 day of cold. And it's like we're all crippled. We're like, what the hell happened?
We got down to, I think it was 18 degrees Fahrenheit, whatever that converts into Celsius, negative 7 Celsius.
Yeah.
Is that close?
We had to put socks on with our flip-flops.
Come on, I got socks on now, mate.
No, not socks.
Socks on. I got those little fluffy shoes things that are really go, like get your feet warm. I don't like. We got bare floors here, so no carpet because it's hot most of the year. So Anyway, let's get off that topic.
Hey, I saw someone talking about planting their seeds in, and I just planted hopefully my second crop of cucumbers. My second crop of corn is failing, but yeah, getting there.
She's laughing at you.
I think fall crops. So fall crops is similar to our autumn crops. We're coming into spring, where the similarity sort of crosses across. Because your climate isn't really too much different to ours, really. From what, we're sort of when you look across the equator and things like that, and you look at it's actually very similar to where you guys are to where we are, but so fall crops are similar to the spring crops, and you can actually, because it's really hot at the moment, you're still saying it's still hot, you can actually do a fall crop for the snake beans. I did one for a fall crop, and it still will grow because they love the heat when it first comes up, and you can have within 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, you can get like a month of no problem of beans. And then they just slow down. So that's one of them. People don't realize that you can do that one because they'll sprout really quickly because of the heat. And then you've got all your, you're coming into all your leafy greens, which you get like these days where it's like cool and then hot and cool and then hot. And they hate it because they're going, oh yeah, this is beautiful, nice cool day, my chard. And then all of a sudden you get a steamer and it goes, ooh. You're sort of waiting for that time. So it's a tricky time when you're going from heat to cooler in the fall, I believe. So it's like there's some tomatoes that are really good as well, some late season tomatoes that you can plant that are really good. They can handle the heat in between those fluctuation changes. So that's generally what I try and do at that time of year until the temperature sort of stables out and we can grow the leafy greens more successfully without bolting to seed too quickly.
Yeah. I have not succeeded at lettuce yet.
It's lettuce
Lots of water
here in Florida.
Lots of water. You should be able to. Hydroponics, Mike, shouldn't be too hard for the lettuce in Florida, or
it just you have to watch it. It'll bolt in that, and with the hydroponics, it kind of keeps it a little cooler and constant water, so it'll last a whole lot longer than if I just try and plant it in the ground. But that's why we like the like all the small containers, like y'all were talking about, like what we're.
Yeah.
Then if you
stuff.
little sand, we're gonna have more of that coming out. You know what? This is a little bit heavier than the hydroton.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
The sand.
Sand and water. Yeah.
Like
but
twice
when
as
you
heavy.
plant in a lot of the smaller containers, and then like you said, if you have it out there and all of a sudden the sun comes up, it's good, and then all of a sudden it's hot. you can move all these containers around. And that's one thing. That's what kind of got me with traditional gardening is, once it's in, it's kind of in, unless you're doing like container gardening and moving them around, and portable things. But then you're having to try and adjust where it's at, and shade it or this or that. And we can look out, and if they look like they're wilting a little, you run out and you grab them all and you carry them up to the shade.
Yeah.
Just move everything a couple of feet or bring them inside for a couple of hours and then take them back outside.
They look like they're working really well. Those little the thing that you've designed for the drip system.
Yeah,
for the
those are genius.
Appreciate really it. It's just I was doing it because I kept messing up, because I've been watching. I started watching Marty. I started watching him about 7 years ago, probably 8 or 9, because I watched him before I got on YouTube. And Marty did microgreens like a while back. You kind of had a little time when you were like doing a lot of microgreens.
Bottom watering mostly, so it's still sucked up like what you've got, but in trays.
Yeah, and I kept being here in Florida. If you didn't stay on top of it and didn't get in there and water them, I'd be at work, and you'd come back and like have trays and trays and trays, just all dried up.
Yeah.
So
instantly.
I just wanted to do something. So I like taking those. You can eat some of them, then you take them and I put them in the bigger containers, and you get the little continuous harvest thing going on. But I needed to find a way that I could just keep growing them. And when we had the little ramen trays with the self-wicking with the paper towel, then I could just put it together, cover it up, and set it over in the dark for about 2 or 3 days, and they would germinate without me even having to go in there. Spritz. Once in a while when it gets real hot like this, I lift up the foil, spritz it, give it a little bit of air. But if you don't, it's still getting the water, the roots, like really fast. Once they get going in the sand, even better than the hydroton, they just shoot right down. And these, I planted them out, and that's the only thing I did was once in a while, with the heat. The room that I've got them in is almost 100 degrees. It's like we were talking about, like the Florida rooms and that.
Yep.
So it goes through, it's pretty warm. So I'll go in there and just spritz them a little, just to, just like us, if we, want a little cool area, whether it needs it or not, once in a while, I'll just go and give them a little spritz.
Yeah.
Sing to them once in a while or something, and, whatever to make them happy.
I don't know. Don't ask what songs are you singing to them? I want to know.
Well,
is it David Bowie? Or are you talking
David
Michael
Bowie.
Jackson?
A little both. Some Beatles.
Yeah. Oh,
Buffett. Yeah, definitely Buffett. They like Buffett.
Yellow Submarine. There's actually really great
Mamas and Papas.
Mamas and Papas. Yeah. Look, obviously plants obviously connect to the way that the emotions that we give towards them. Look, because you hear a lot of people like, "Oh man, I just hate this. I haven't been able. I've got a black thumb," and everything they say it dies. And your person's like, "Oh, I'm just really trying. I'm just really want to have a go." And they seem to have more success. It's got to be like a mental thing as well into it. But there's lots of great studies on plants and things like that without getting too deep off it. But music, definitely. Why not? Bit of Bach.
There was an actual study, and I'm not sure if this is like scientific study or whatever, but there was that the birds, like in the early morning, the birds start chirping or whatever, that the plants actually like respond to that.
Well, why not? I do.
Yeah, I'm feeling the heat and humidity right now since I cut the air off there.
So I'm looking at my at the chat here. I see Coin Crazy talking about his jalapenos and his cucumbers. That's not my neighbor, is it? I don't know his YouTube handle, but that sounds like my neighbor, and it kind of looks like him.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's doing well if you can growing jalapenos, because they can be a bit tricky at times, So yeah, take your hat off. If you're having success with your jalapenos, means that you'll probably have success with growing other types of chilies and things along that family. So if you're having success with jalapenos, I would be moving into the other similar ones of you call them peppers over there, and start growing some different peppers as well.
I'll tell you what, I grow Scotch bonnet and habaneros and a bunch of other hot stuff, and they grow great. My jalapenos are getting all eaten up by whatever's out there, and the pepper plant right next to it not being touched at all. The really hot stuff, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I grew cayenne and habaneros.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like I said, they'll be all over like bell peppers and stuff, but those like they would just
Doesn't
keep
touch 'em.
growing and producing. Yeah.
Tabasco. Tabasco's a prolific
Tabasco.
producer. Oh my gosh. Love Tabasco.
Yeah. Ooh,
So yeah, if you're doing well with jalapenos, hats off to you. I'd keep on rolling with that one. Get some new varieties.
I think he was saying he was having trouble with his jalapenos. I can't remember.
Yeah,
he can seem to grow jalapenos. Some store-bought flowers.
Yeah, but then the cucumbers were what he was having a problem with.
Yeah, that's what I see now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cucumbers are really based on like there's a lot of problems with humidity around cucumbers, so they get the fungal growth on them and things like that. So yeah, you just got to be a bit careful. I find they grow better here in the drier periods of the year. I get much better success with them. As soon as we get a bit of rain and humidity around, they get that white sooty mold on them. The only way you can really sort of defeat it is by spraying a little 10% milk with water if you get it early enough. Other than that, you've got to, if it gets quite infected, you've got to pull it all out and bin it, because it can end up over other plants and stuff like that. Does anyone vermicompost? Oh no, that's me. Yeah, I do that regularly. You can check it out on the Marty's Garden channel. There's lots of stuff going on about vermicomposting over there. We just filmed over in the Philippines, a farm over there, vermicompost farm. And I sell compost here locally that I make that has a vermicompost system in it with big bins and windrow set up and worm farms and things like that. So, and we feed all the garden that way, and now we just introduced the chickens to do some work as well. But yeah, vermicompost is something that I do. So check it out, Marty's Garden. Yeah.
Yep. You've got like a whole playlist, right?
Yeah, you can go in there and just really, if you just go through the channel and just sort of go through, you can find it, because there's just so many. Like, well, man, no one's going to watch over 100 videos in a playlist, right? But yeah, you can sort of just search through there. If you want to have a look at the recent one, you can find stuff. But if you just type in worm farming in my channel, it'll come up with a whole lot of options, depending on what you want to do with vermicomposting, because you can go in many different variations of ways with it.
Well, I'm not doing any vermicompost. We got very fortunate. The person who owned this property before us, it had been a garden, massive garden, for 20 years before we bought it, and we had worms galore, and it was just beautiful out there. If worms were a pest, I'd be in trouble.
That's good. That's a really good sign.
Oh yeah, it's just I can't pick up a handful of dirt without picking up at least 2 worms anywhere.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome. Very fortunate with that.
Biochar. Yeah, I've made it a few times. It's pretty good stuff. Biochar can really make a big difference on big farms, small yards, all types of places. Probably the only thing is it just got in my opinion, it just got marketed too far and pushed too far. Like these people like near us were selling these little tiny sachets for like $10. You're going, come on, man, like let's get real here. But basically, anything that holds biochar is a calcium, really a potash in some regards, and because of the surface area, there's a lot of sort of porous things. You can the microbes and bacteria have got sort of housing. It also stores and pumps water like a little sump. It has it breaks up blocky soils. It's really good stuff. But I just think it's been pushed too far. I don't think people think it can be the save all. It's just really just good soil practices, and biochar can be one of those. That's from my opinion anyway.
So Dave the Good did a little thing with the two big soup cans filled it with witty product or whatever, and then just stick that whole thing in the fire. Talk about something simple and easy and cheap. And I'm all about cheap. I told Marty the other day, I was like, you're speaking my language, man. Cheapskate.
Mike. yeah. It's cheap to make, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's just so discouraging to see what some people are marketing and just trying to make as much money as they can off of something that, just a little bit of knowledge. Boom, you're
depleting oxygen.
Free.
Yeah, you're depleting oxygen to the fire at the end.
Yeah,
that's sort of the basics to it, and then you end up with a coal substitute. You can actually just get coal and then reburn it somehow or something like that. But we just like in the fire, just throw water on at the end and go, and just grab those coals and then just throw it into wherever I'm throwing into the compost area or whatever. Just throw it around. Just got to be careful because it does calcium. It's very, it's a calcium, so it can change the soil structure of the pH a bit if you overdo it.
So the way I understand it, if you more gasify it than just burn it, it actually will retain more of the nutrient value, won't it? Or am I confusing that with something else?
It depends, because you're talking about the woody material left over. So basically, like the reason why because before biochar was around, we were doing this in class in the organics when I was studying agribusiness. And one of the things we covered here in Australia, and we did when I did native foods, we talked about how the Aboriginals would burn off certain areas of the bush. Mm-hmm. And then you would see it here in Australia because we have bushfires, certainly like lots of parts of America, but the Australian bush has grown on bushfires, and certain seeds will only sprout from bushfires. And the Aboriginals managed it very well, and they would burn off an area so they could get the animals to come in and feed on this new growth. Now, the new growth is basically, because you get stuff that will burn and will only half burn. So then there's some nutrient retained in it from the sunlight because it's still only a half burn material. And then you'll get stuff that will break down to very small, like leaves and things like that. And all, and it'll get into the subsoil. It creates a leaf litter and things. But it does, this Australian soil is generally acidic. So it calcifies it a little bit. And then it creates all this new growth. And so it's a bit of a tricky one to say, but that's basically how people come up with this idea is by the indigenous of how they were doing it. But the best product is the one that's got half burnt stuff and then like fully burnt stuff and that mixture. Other than that, you can go into the whole marketing side of it where people grab it and they add it to their soil, which they've got a dead soil. It brings the soil back to life and they go, wow, this is the amazing stuff. And it is because they're starting to build back the good bacteria in the soil. But if you overdo it, you can reverse the effects and create too much calcium. And then you've got a lockup of nutrients. It's the same like with hydroponics. If you put too much of one more solution in there, you lock up the other stuff, and then they go, "What's going on?" So it's the same science, really, in that regard. Hopefully, I haven't gone off on a tangent there too much. Sorry, guys.
No, Amy B saying she's making it by the 30-gallon can. I think is that the Dave's Fetid Swamp Water, or is that the biochar? Yeah, biochar. I'm presuming. Oh yeah, water retention. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's what I was saying
before. It swells like a. So the worm casting will do the same thing. If you dry it out or hold moisture again, it will swell and pump. And same with as it's slowly breaking down, any of that type of material will hold moisture like that for sure. It's great.
Yeah, cool. And then I do it the easy way. I just go up to Dollar General during the summer and buy lump charcoal.
Love it, right?
Huge bag.
Which, as long as it doesn't have the chemicals, is actually probably just as good, right?
It's 100%, just 100% wood. So
yeah,
you got to look at that because some of the other ones don't. But and Becky, if that's you in the chat, if you ever come back up, or if you want to DM me or email me or something, and we can figure out like what your where you're getting a little feedback sometimes. It might be even me because I don't have my headphones on, and sometimes StreamYard does that with the echo cancellation and stuff. Hank Williams, Senior.
Still talking about what kind of music to play to the plants.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody saying Pat Benatar.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Manfred, man.
We've got a lot of
ZZ
good bands
Top.
up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that. Cool. Well, one thing we were talking about with all of our channels, let me get, before we do that, David, I'm going to pull your channel up too.
Okay.
And let them see this David's channel. And if you want to tell us anything about, I'm going to scooch on through there a little bit.
You can see the backyard up there at the top. We got raised beds there. We got a bee box off to the left side. This yard actually looks a lot different now. We do a lot of vertical gardening with cattle panels, and I've got 25 cattle panels on the property right now holding plants up. I got a loofah. I have a loofah trellis right now the loofah vines are 60 feet long right now, as loofah does apparently. But yeah, and I do monthly garden tours of everything in 3 parts. There's a pomegranate. We have 9 pomegranate trees, and I mean, just tons and tons of stuff. And I really, my brain's a little slow, and I have to kind of do these things over and over to figure things out. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. And that's really my biggest thing is, I've so often heard people say, "Oh, I've got a brown thumb," or "I got a black and crispy thumb," like Mrs. Bowtie used to say. And we've learned that there. In fact, I did a video. There's only one rule: there is no brown thumb. It's just information.
I agree.
And trying to get people, just encouraging people to just put a seed in the ground. Go down to the hardware store, get a tomato plant. I started with a tomato plant that a friend gave me, and he out of the blue, this guy just had an extra tomato plant. Said, "Here, take this." He was my manager at Ace Hardware where I used to work, and that started it all. Actually, I still have a picture of that one little tomato plant sitting in our 14-foot patio that started everything, all my modern successes in gardening. I've grown stuff in the past. In fact, me and Ms. Bowtie grew a few tomato plants one year back in our cabin in Arkansas, and did great. Ate a lot of tomatoes. Oh, we're going to do this the second year. Well, we had depleted the soil, and I just put the new tomato plants in the same soil. Didn't amend it or anything. Off of 3 plants, we got 1 cherry tomato for the whole year. I thought I was a failure, but no, it was just information. Just get out there and just try something, people. Just try something. And I just think it's so important.
Yeah, definitely. And
we don't know where our future is going to take us. And, if you know how to grow some good food, you'll never go hungry.
Hey, Julie, how are you? Who else here? Lisa, Led Zeppelin. What's up, Lisa? And Bob Marley.
Hey.
Yeah.
Could
That's
you
the one
could you be looked? Could you be looked?
Plants like listen to the little Bob Marley too.
What about Thriller Night? I was playing that in the car the other day. Car, my daughter's loving it. She's going, "Dad, that's awesome." I'm going, "Yeah, this is way back before your time."
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but that was cool. David, like I said, so it's nice to meet someone around here. It's I jump on all the time, and we're always I thought YouTube and everything was like people around you or something. Once I started posting videos and answering comments and going, I didn't it's like I met Marty and on the other side of the planet and that, and so once in a while, I don't really meet too many people too close where I am. So when it said Destin, I was like, oh, that's a beautiful area out there.
It is. It really is.
Near us. Sorry, we got a few near us now that they've started up. The Weedy Gardener, he's pretty popular. He's just up from us. He's just up the road in Maynarm. I haven't met him yet personally yet, but there's a few popping up around here. I probably need to make a bit more effort and go out and meet these people now.
I bet I've been watching Weedy Gardener since he had less than 4,000 followers.
Did you?
I caught him on like his second video, and I love his style. He is so artistic. Oh my goodness, to have just a pinky of his artistic ability.
Yeah.
He's good fun guy. Like I
Oh
said,
my
he's only 10 minutes away from me. I need to
Oh wow.
probably go and visit the Weedy Gardener or message him soon and go
Oh
and
my
say hello.
gosh.
He looks like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got a few other girls that do like that homesteading sort of stuff where they swim in the creek and, you know, and go in their sexy undies and all that type of stuff. There's a few of them around here as well. I'm not going to go and visit them. I might get kicked out.
I tried that and I like lost half my subscribers.
yeah. But I think, and also we've got there's a couple of that. There's the other guy that I can't think of his name. Very popular permaculture guy, Jeff something. I'll get shot for not remembering his name, bringing that up because he's one of the most popular permaculturists in Australia. But anyway,
Jeff,
sorry.
Weedy Garden talks to him. Jeff.
Yeah. Jeff Lawson.
Jeff
Lawson. Lawson.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, he's only up the road from me as well.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, welcome, Michelle. Good to have you here. And I'm Mike. This is my channel, but if you see Marty's Garden here, he's got a channel, and Bowtie David. It's Bowtie in the Garden, right?
Bowtie Life in the Garden. It's actually
Yeah,
Bowtie Life on Facebook, YouTube, Original Bowtie Life on Instagram, and there's actually a bowtielife.me website. Don't have much on it. I keep my harvest weight on there for each year, but that's about all I've got on it right now.
Cool. A lot more organized than I am.
I doubt it.
People are like, what kind of yield did you get? And I'm like, I don't weigh anything. I'm like, I can tell you I had about this many or whatever, but I just grow and we just have fun. So
just grow and eat and give away
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a bit the same.
I started weighing last year. I got over 300 pounds all of last year. This year, I've already broke 325 pounds, and it's just August. So,
it's a question there for me from Amy B. Marty, are you near self-sufficient me? He's about 3 hours drive north of where I am. I just messaged him yesterday, actually, a quick chat. We've been planning to meet up again, but it's a bit of a hike to get up there. So, he's north of where I am. Up in Queensland. I'm on the New South Wales Queensland border, so he's a little bit warmer, not too much. Don't forget to mention sufficient me. Yeah. Well, he's not close to me. The other guys, like we're talking within 10-kilometer range. Mark's hundreds of kilometers away, but we do keep in touch from time to time. A good dude. I really like Mark.
Yeah.
But he's he started not maybe a year after I did or similar time, and so we've watched each other sort of, and he's I messaged him yesterday. He said, I really love how you got bringing the family back in on the channel. That's really great getting feedback from people that you respect as well, and you've made
absolutely
a relationship and a friendship with other it's really cool. So yeah, he's a great dude, and he's loved around the world. He's probably one of the most Australia's gardening export now. He's done really well. But he's worked hard. People don't know how hard that guy's worked, man. He hasn't had a holiday in 7 years or something. He's about the. I won't give that away. I'm not allowed to say it's private thing.
He's got an amazing garden. I tell you what, I love his raised beds and everything.
Yeah.
I wish I could grow fruit trees like he does.
Yeah, well, he gave us 3 raised beds from Birdie, the Australian company, and we've got them in our backyard. Mark donated them when he made some content here. He said, don't tell anyone that we've got them, and I always tell them every time. Because he's a very humble guy, He goes, you don't have to tell anyone. But I'm just so appreciative of it,
Yeah. Somebody saying hello there to you, Sandy. First time here. My plants are slow growing this year due to the weather. Yeah, it's been tricky. I think it's been tricky for a whole lot of people over here. You're Hawaii, right? Is that Helen, if I can remember?
What a great name.
I know, right? I love it.
And Yeah. So Marty, did you have to get your wife? Or are you hanging around a little or?
We're probably she's just actually asleep now. Sometimes she does an extra split shift, so yeah, I can hang around a little bit longer, and then when you're ready, probably another 5-10
Helen in
minutes, and
Washington.
then I'll head off
Not
probably.
too far
Yeah,
away.
the next 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay. And then we'll all like chit chat. I'll be talking about what I was coming on was talking about like making money and that. But with gardening and I can chat with you a little bit, David. I know you said you don't do too much and all that, but I was just wondering why you started a channel and why you're on YouTube, and you said you're on Instagram and all the social channels and all that too, right?
Facebook. I'm mainly on YouTube. I do post on Facebook and Instagram occasionally, but really, I just wanted a way to keep a journal, and I
Mhm.
tried writing a journal. I tried the apps. I tried a whole bunch of ways. My brain I just couldn't stick to it. And I've actually had a monetized channel before, and I really enjoyed making the videos. So I started making the videos, and now I'll be getting ready in the morning to go out to work. I'm a handyman. I'll be getting ready in the morning to go out to work, and I'll play my videos up on the big TV, which is right here. But I'll play my videos on there while I'm running around doing stuff, and it'll say something to me. Oh yeah, I got 5 plants sitting out in that row out there. I need to get planted. I'll go out there in 5 minutes, put in 5 plants, go on with the rest of my morning, and it reminds me of stuff. And I've discovered that the videos just really keep me on task on what I need, what I'm trying to do. And and I'm like, okay, I've always had a business of my, I've had a business of my own since I was 7 years old. I turned 60 next year. And so I've got a problem. I want to turn anything into a business. And so I'm going to try to monetize this if I can. But if I don't, I'm still making the garden tours because I'll be standing at the seed display thinking, okay, now did I grow that 2 years ago? And I'm pulling up my channel going back because you'll notice every single one of my videos are very detailed index. And I'll go through the index. There it is. And I'll listen to it there. And the store is like, okay, no, I didn't get this kind of seed. And I'm picking whatever seeds I want. So it's really started out being just for me, but it's grown. We're approaching 600 videos so far, and that's
Oh,
gone far beyond personal journaling, of course.
right. No, that's cool. And let's see, somebody was saying something about lettuce. Found you guys after getting out of hydro and having success on just growing lettuce in micro clay pebbles. Yeah, that's what we're doing with the clay pebbles. That's pretty cool. Glad you like that. And then now I'm starting like saying people too get a little um confused, especially if they don't watch like every video and they come back because I do a lot of different things. And like some other channels is, they're growing tomatoes and basically it's, there's not too many different things. You grow a tomato, you grow a cucumber or whatever. And some people I'm doing things a certain way and they'll come back to kind of check on it or see how it's going. And I'll be doing something completely different. And they're like, well, what was wrong with the old way? And so, I have that a lot, but it's what we're trying to do is I'm just trying to find lots of different ways so that everyone out there, my goal is everyone knows how to grow some of their own food. And we all don't have to have like green thumbs and grow a whole garden, but I'm finding different ways. Everything's as cheap and as easy as possible.
Absolutely.
And there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yep.
So when I figure something out and it works and I make videos and I put it out and people are saying, oh, that's cool. And they start doing it too, like that, then I could just keep doing it and just grow my food and just eat it. But then my brain's like, what's next? What else can we do? What else can we grow in? Digging
You're
around
an
the
inventor,
recycling
Mike.
bin.
You're an
Yep.
inventor. You got
Inventor.
that mad science inventing thing going on, and that's one thing I love about what you do is that process of bringing out new things.
Oh,
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm still trying to figure you out, but I think you probably have a little bit of ADHD in you.
Just wee bit. I was in, and some people actually stopped in here too. But there's this bigger project I'm working on, and we have a little groups. It's like accountability groups, but it's been trying to nail down. I hate to tell them, that I like being around people like that are enthusiastic and they're hard workers, and we're all like working. but as far as me like putting goals and ABCD, and I'm more like chaos, and I've just been like that for like 20 years, and it's just I just do this because I can't work for someone. It's not it's feel like if I think about it, I can't breathe. And so it's when I got out of it like 20 something years ago, and when things go up and down and they're getting a little tough, you think, well, maybe you need to go back to work, and I like have a panic attack. So I go, I got to figure something else out.
It's so true. That's similar. My story is a little bit different for that, but because I was a single parent for nearly all my daughter's life until just recently, I had to. My biggest why was I need to work at home because everyone in my family's old, and we didn't have anyone far away, and no one to help me take care of her. So I just had to stay home. And then, I was making YouTube videos, and all of a sudden we got monetized. This is the old monetization system. And then it was like, oh, okay. So it just sort of, like had to stay at home. And then that entrepreneurial thing that I've always had that problem, like you were saying, Bowtie, like you're mowing lawns when you're 5, almost,
Yeah.
but, like 7 years of age, I'm weeding, things like that going, yeah, this makes some money. And you get that entrepreneurial thing that could be really quite good and bad in some regards. But my biggest why was I had to stay at home, take care of my daughter. And so just had to keep on rolling. And everyone has a different reason, but I'm a bit like you. I can't really go and work for anyone else now anymore. And I don't know how well I'd go taking orders either,
Yeah, we'd last like 3 days, if that long, and you're fired.
I quit my last real job in 1999, about a month after we bought our first house. Mrs. Bowtie, who's held the same job for a very long time, panicked. She's over there trying to ignore me.
Yeah.
but I don't consider my little job I had for 2 years at Ace Hardware, that wasn't a job. It was a health plan because I was walking with a cane at the time. I said, I need to get off I'm a web developer. I actually have a web development company. And I'm letting that go by the wayside, but I just walking on a cane because I couldn't walk. And it's like, I got to get on my feet. I got to get moving. So I went over there, and within 6 weeks, I'd gotten rid of the cane, walking up and down the store aisles. Like, all right, I'm going to stick here and keep moving, walk 10 miles a day. And it made me feel great. And so by the time I got done there through pandemic, customers were asking me, well, how do I do this? And I would tell them how you do it. I've been doing this stuff all my life. And eventually they were asking, well, would you just come do it for me? And after about 6 months of hearing that, I quit and became a handyman. And happiest change I think I've made all my life, except for Mrs. Bowtie, of course.
Cool. That was about she's going to get you one of those shows over.
She always gets me.
That's about the same time we did. It was around 1990. So it's 2000.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow. So we've got a bunch of our little group here, but this is cool. This is what, like, I'm talking about, like using the internet, being able to connect with people. We never had that before. And also I'm doing something that has to build like I have to build out like websites and all of that. So now this is like gardening and hydroponics, and now I've got somebody who like makes websites and somebody that does like SEO and stuff, and has nothing to do with gardening and that. So if I need anything, that's what you guys like, form connections. You never know what happens. And it's like I'll be like hitting you up on a DM or something, and how's this work or something. But yeah, I think that's cool that we can just connect with people all over the place.
Yeah.
Even though my mic was like going on and off there for a second, this streaming software, if I pop up, like if my stuff messes up, it still runs and you guys still are on and you still talk, and then I can like reboot stuff and jump right back in. So it's
that's cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So it's really user friendly in that we've got all kinds of technology we can work with now that we never had before.
Hey, pandemic did a lot for technology. It's funny because, people have been talking about, we all going to be working from home since the 80s. People have been saying that. It never really happened. It took 18 months and the world changed. It's amazing. Yeah, that's a pretty high compliment there, Marty. That's pretty
She's
cool.
a great girl, mate. I'm truly blessed to have her as a daughter. There's no doubt about that. She's
Yeah.
great. And she's really good on the show too now.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
make it a lot of fun. So it's not so serious these days. So more fun. They want to be in it a bit more, you know.
Yeah. Now, if y'all were following Marty for a while too, she was like, right?
Yeah.
Some of your first videos.
3 years old or something. I think
Yeah.
it was the first time we might have filmed her. Yeah. 3 or 4, something like that. Really young.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So if y'all want to have any fun when you go around the channels and that, especially like the bigger channels, because some of them leave the videos up, is you go on the video tab and then click oldest and look at the old videos and see where people come from and what they've done. And sometimes I spend more time looking at people's first videos than what they're doing right now.
The 1 minute long intro was my worst one, I think.
Yeah, I did that when I first started. And I asked people, I put the video up and I asked people for feedback, and that's what somebody said was like, "Good God," you know. And I went back and watched it, and it was over a minute. And I was like, okay, maybe. But I was having fun. Keely's walking around the lake, and we were filming. The dogs were walking, and they're like, "When does this video start?"
Yeah,
So,
the 1 minute slideshow mixed with video and stuff like that. But we didn't have in those days the technology and the feedback and all the analytics and all that type of stuff. You just got in there and you sort of copied what they were doing on TV a bit. And they always had these big long intros on TV and stuff like that. And we realized that people didn't really like those. I don't even bother with an intro anymore. But it was, it was an experience, that's for sure.
Okay, I need to go hide a bunch of my old videos because I think I may have a 12-minute intro in there somewhere.
Hey, I saw one the other day. I was doing some because I've got it's called a highline chicken now. It's the type of chicken I got. I was doing some research and just looking at videos on it. And there was one, it went for like 8 minutes long, and all it shown was the chickens in the coop. Didn't say anything. It's just like, bark, 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 bark. There's a different chicken there. There's different. I'm just going, oh my, when's it going to say anything? Fast forward a little bit. Still nothing. Shirley and I were laughing. We're cracking up laughing. We go, they didn't say anything. It was just footage of the chicken in the coop, and that was it. I'm going, well, my intro wasn't that bad.
What's the guy's name? He works with at Roots and Refuge. Will is his name. He has his own channel. I can't think of the name, but he actually does some amazingly artistic videos where he doesn't say much for an hour and a half, and it's just him working out there. But he gets his content across. It's real. I wish I could remember the name of his channel.
Some people are brilliant at that. Mike and I were talking about before. Yeah, you can just get those shots right, the sounds right, and really feel like you are in that shot.
Exactly.
You're a part. You're doing it. Like the chainsaw or whatever. And you're going, oh wow, I'm really getting that chainsaw vibe thing going on, and you feel like you're a part of it. Then that's a very special way to know how to film. And the Asians do that really quite well with their house building of bamboo and those type of things. And so, some really great people doing it. I was just knocking the chickens because it was just so similar sort of right through. And you're looking for information, it's just something really to say. But that's some great stuff like that. I wish I could do it, to be honest. I've tried and I can't hold the attention.
Honeybee Hollow Gardens is his channel, and he'll do these hour and a half long videos where he may have said 12 sentences the whole time, but he's just taking you through. It's very cool. It's very cool. I admire his art. Wow.
Yeah, I just want to give everybody a little bit of encouragement, because a lot of these people too are going to be going into, I'm making like a course to teach people like how, because there's lots of gardeners watching this and how they can like set up social media, start earning a little revenue streams and that. But some people like have little doubts and all of that. And I just want to say, if you look at my channels here, TikTok, Facebook, whatever, wherever you're watching from, I've done most of this we've been up here about 6 years. I've got like a tiny backyard, like barely any room at all. And when I first started, we were farmhands, and we were on a 300-acre ranch. If you go back and look at like my oldest videos, and that's when I couldn't make, videos at all. And I'm really not real good at it right now, but we could have planted all kinds of stuff. They had the tractor and told us to, if we wanted to, we could have plowed up the fields and just planet stuff. But that's where I had started. And like a year later, we moved up in the middle of the city, and that's where I'm at now. And so if you're thinking about like, sharing your gardening experience and you think you don't have a big place, you just look at mine. And like David was talking about saying, I'd like turn things over, or Marty was saying, fast growing things, I grow a whole lot and it's in like a tiny space, but I'm never like all the way back in the corner, showing the whole thing. It's whatever the subject is. So there's different ways that you can like film and tell people stories. But I could do, if I was still on the ranch, like for the past 6 years, it would have just been wild, because there was donkeys and horses and peacocks, and in the morning deer would just walk by the window, and wild turkey, and we've got all kind of shots like that. And you just get in a golf cart, and drive all around and feed the horses and stuff in the morning. But we moved like a year after my channel started, and we're like in the middle of the city, where I've got 1 mile to the a major hospital, a mall, the expressway, fire department, police department. The sirens are going off all the time, and not to mention an airport, an Air Force base. All of this is like within miles.
I've got 4 air bases, 2 airports, and a heliport.
Yeah. So, trying to film outside, so a lot of mine has been voiceovers and that ever since, because in addition to all of that, it's hot. So I've got my air conditioner here, neighbor's one's here, and that neighbor's one. I can see 3 air conditioners, and there's no time that they're all going off at the same time. So mine will go off, and I'll be waiting, and it'll stop, and I'll start narrating. And all of a sudden, this one will kick on, and or they're all 3 going at the same time. So I just gave up, and I said, I'm just going to go and film, and you guys can see some of my videos, and I just bring it in here and do a little voiceover, and there's like millions of ways to do things, but there's so much opportunity out there for everyone. And I like doing this for people, because it's like I said, we do things cheap and easy. And over the years, I've been finding a lot of people coming on and saying they're worried about like where times are headed, and you need to learn to grow your own food, and I can't afford this, or I can't afford that. And so there's opportunities to do things too, because I got started doing it. And like David, how you have your channels up everywhere and everything, and you never know. It just takes like one video that catches on, and then all of a sudden you're off to the races, and then you're monetized, and you got income coming in. And then there's, like Marty was talking about, there's 100 other things that you can do. We're going to talk about that in the course. But Marty started making his compost and his vermicomposting and that, and he started selling that, and then people see his channel, and then there's different things, there's so much, because even with all of this stuff, you could run a small ad like here in America. And if you had one video that kind of blew up, you could take that video and run an ad and target like within a 10-mile radius of you, however far you wanted to go for compost. And you don't, it's not like the old days where you just put out a video and it kind of just went out to everyone. You can say like within a 10-mile radius, and I want this gender, or this salary range, or people that like cats, or there's all kinds of targeting that you can do. And we never had that before. So you can dig deep and go down a rabbit hole there. There's tons of opportunity out there, and it's just I just like sharing it all, because I hate to see people suffering and just letting opportunities and stuff go by when there's stuff to do. But that's just my nature. It's like y'all were talking about running around with the lawnmower, and we were like charging $7, me and my brother, and we'd split $3.50, but we still had to put $1 of gas back in. Yeah, the one old neighbor that you were doing it for like years and started charging everyone else, but they're so you were like $7 mowing a whole lawn.
That's the exact amount I charge. I used to clear driveways in the winter, and it used to be $7 for a driveway, $7 for a lawn.
Yeah. You guys are too cheap. When I was 10, I was getting $20 for a lawn. When I was 10, I had an awesome big one, half an acre. It used to take me 4 hours, but I get $20.
By the time I was 13, I was up to maybe $18.
Yeah. Mike, you were saying about the opportunities before. Marty's garden channel started on it, like similar to you, Bowtie. I just started on a veranda. I had a little tiny veranda. It was a small space gardening channel, and we had a website called Small Space Gardening Homes, which I sold for enough to buy a small vehicle at the time and things like that. And so I built that up, combined with the channel and the website, and then sold the website. And when I was broke, and bought a car, that was at the times when Karen was very, very young. So, sometimes people don't realize you don't need to have these massive spaces. We just had some pot plants, and then I ended up having a worm farm. We ended up filming the worm farm and feeding all the plants with the worm farm on the veranda to do it cheap and easy because I was broke, and my daughter's got hearing loss, and I didn't want to leave her from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night at a daycare place. She'd have no life and I'd have no life. So yeah, we just started on a little tiny veranda with pot plants.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome. That is inspiring, man.
Yeah, good job. Good deal, Marty. And also, one thing too is, and I keep putting how you can make money gardening and not sell one plant, because you can, because that's what I was always thinking when I was first doing it. Like microgreens, especially that do microgreens. They're easy. 7 to 10 days, you got a new crop, right? And but there's a lot of hustle that goes into it. And who's that? Bagel Finagle. He's on like some of the other channels. He came on here, Josh, but he started his own business doing it, and I know a couple of people that have done it, but it's a lot of work, especially since stuff turns over fast. You're replanting, like you plant a garden and then it's out there for a while, and then you're doing the maintenance, the weeding, the tilling, and all that. And like microgreens, like every couple of days you're starting new crops and rotating. There's a lot of selling, there's regulations to go through, there's a heap of stuff, and then at any time your stuff can just like be gone. Something can happen.
I did it. I was a microgreens farmer. Yeah, so that's how Pepe Fasos got started, was through with me. But yeah, I did it, and so that's why I just sell compost now, because it's easier, and people still want it. It's an easier product to do, but but it can be very, very time consuming. But some people do well just off like succulents or something like that, where you've got a plant that you don't have to produce another seed. It has a pup, and if these plants produce pups, then you don't have to. It's a bit simpler again. Without getting too far off topic, but I think that's probably the easiest way of like some of the plants that produce suckers out the bottom or take cuttings and things like that. You can do that a little bit more to scale than having to rely on seed. And a friend of mine does house plants up on the Gold Coast, and she does quite well out of that, just selling on Marketplace. Just house plants, but most of them produce pups and cuttings and things like that as well. So it's easier to get the scale.
Yeah. And but go ahead, David.
I was gonna say, I've got 8 loquat trees out here I've been trying to give away for a year, and I can't even give them away.
Oh man, I planted 2. People over here don't know what it is. There's a couple of people, but
they don't know here either.
No, they don't. The thing will be here.
Awesome.
When
oh my goodness.
we were kids, that was our candy, because you had to go the 5 and dime store, run up to go get candy, but you'd be in the backyard, when these things were blooming and fruiting and just climbing around, and you're just picking them and eating them. So I tried to grab a couple of seeds from a tree, but it like kills me. I'll drive by somebody's house here, and in the backyard, I'll see a tree just loaded with fruit.
Oh.
And they're not eating any of it. It's all just falling on the ground. It's just covered the ground, littered. Yeah. I'm like, man, I would feel for that.
Growing little trees everywhere. I harvested 90 pounds from one of my friends. He has 2,
Whoa.
I don't know, they're probably 18, 20 foot tall trees. I harvested 90 pounds of loquats. And me and Miss Bowtie sat at the table over there processing them as fast as we could. We probably got, what did we get, about 50, 60 pounds of it processed before it finally went down. We do a little bit every night, and it's getting bad. And by the end, we're picking through, trying to find a few good ones.
Yeah. Thanks, Wade. Appreciate that. I'm glad you're doing good there.
I think, I don't want to get too far off topic, but just mentioning, so I didn't want to sound like I was putting microgreens down before, because it's a very good business. And if you can turn them over, we used to plan out, I plan out 2 crops a week, and I supplied 10 restaurants And but not only that, just not only microgreens, we supply other things as well, but and to locals and things too. But it can be a very profitable thing if you can control your product line quite well. And it's not, I don't want to deter someone to say, oh, I'm not going to do that now, because it has a fast turnaround. But just be careful not to believe too much of the hype online. If you do decide to move into microgreens business, just start off small, one restaurant, move up to 2, and then see if you can actually scale it and keep the system rolling. And then you just move from one to the next, sort of thing like that. So it can be a very lucrative business. If probably the hardest part is running around and selling it, more so than the actual growing part, from experience, because that's very it takes a lot of your time. Yeah, the hustle. But like Mike's, I know he's got this course coming up, and he wants to talk about that as well. And he's been doing this for quite a while, and I think that he can take you possibly in a better direction than maybe selling microgreens, because the online world can be more scalable, where you produce a digital product, and you don't have to keep growing it over and over and over. You can produce it once. If people like it, you can trial it and see if people want to buy it. And if they're interested in the product, that someone's opened their wallet for it and bought it, and you provided good value for them, then you've got something that's much more manageable when you're not running around like a mad chook trying to sell to every restaurant. And then you turn up the restaurant and they just go, we don't want it anymore. We've changed our menu, So I think, what Mike's got to offer, I believe for some people would be maybe a better option.
Yeah, I'm just offering this is just because I enjoy it, and things have progressed so much in the last 7 years compared to right now, and it's only getting better. They're not stopping. When we first started, about the only place besides doing like sponsored deals or anything was YouTube and getting AdSense, and that was like $1 for like 1,000 views or something. But TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everybody's monetizing everywhere. So I was like just monetized like just YouTube. So all of this stuff. So what happens is, even though it's not a lot, that like if you get monetized like on YouTube and you don't have a lot coming in, but this is getting many income streams coming in, because you're basically taking like the same stuff that you grew, the same footage, tweaking it a little bit, landscape, vertical, and there's different people on TikTok than there is on Facebook and YouTube. So you kind of tweak to your audience. But if once you learn how to do that and you get in the flow, I was telling like some of these other people I was talking to, I was helping them out, but I'll go out there and film in my garden and come in and cut a video. And we went over it. You guys were here. I showed you the little editing one that I did, and it was, within a half an hour, I can edit a short that could get like 1 million views. So yeah, it's all you need is like just one. You just have to know the pattern interrupts and just different things to, make people like stop the scroll. And believe it or not, it's hard to keep people's attention for 1 minute on a short. And but there's all kinds of things you can do. And if you just, if you enjoy doing this, if you enjoy growing, you enjoy coming on like up here asking questions and talking to people like this, and that's what you've been doing, all you have to do is just share it. The people who have a tough time are the ones who just want to try and start a channel, just be a YouTuber, and they're trying to figure out something to do. But if this is something you already do, just like David was just gardening, and then this was like his journal, it's a good way to, and you don't monetizing and getting something out of it doesn't just mean money too. It could just be you're wanting to spread the word and help more people in the world, and you're learning how to grow, and you could show somebody something that they'll be sending you a little thank you note saying, oh, we're, in this country and you helped us out and we're doing something. So there's all kind of benefits to it. And it's, like I said, it's only getting better because all of the platforms are competing with each other, and it's not like perfect or good on it. Like Instagram was like nothing, but they'll give away like bonuses once in a while, offer creators a bonus and say, if you can get so many views on reels, you can earn up to 1,200 this month, or up to, they'll say like Facebook will say up to 30,000, but not too many are making 30 grand, but $1,200 bonus is like a real possibility. I've done it several times.
Wow.
Yeah, and the only reason why they would invite you is because you're putting the content up and you are, you know, you're there. It's not like you put one video up and if you never put any up, then you don't get invited. So a lot of them are going towards, instead of like YouTube where it's a contract, you know, like we signed an agreement with YouTube for AdSense.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones are going on a bonus system, and they say they invite you in. So they invite you in, and they might do it month after month and renew, and you don't even notice it. But because there's no contract at any time, they can just cut it off. You know, say, sorry, we can't afford to do bonuses anymore.
Yeah,
But-
well,
Yeah,
you get
a
it.
bit unfortunate.
Right.
They don't do it in Australia, though. They
Yeah,
don't
if you
do
made
these
like
bonus
10
things in
grand or
Australia.
something last month, you're not going to sit there and cry, you know, that, oh, they're not doing, you know, I didn't get the bonus this month. It's like, I made 10 grand last month.
Mm.
So there, if you don't, it's like the lottery. If you don't play, you don't win. You can't, you know, there's no chance of winning. So they pass out these invitations, and that is because people are getting out there, sharing what they're doing, you know, and if you are consistent, and you don't need a huge crowd. Facebook, I think when they first offered me the beta program, the creator program, I only had a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000 or something. And you had to have 10,000 to get monetized in their new program. I only had like 1,000, but I think, you know, I was consistently still, Marty, like you're putting out videos, you're talking to people, you're answering questions, you're engaging with your audience. And I was doing it for like years. So if you don't get started, things don't happen in that. So there, you know, all of these things aren't things like you don't go and sign up for it and start making money right away. So that's why I like to put the word out, start telling people, because if you start doing it, you're going to enjoy it. Like David, you grow anyway, right?
Mhm.
You
Oh,
start,
yeah.
you're filming what you're doing. You don't have to be an expert, like editing, and start sharing it. And you never know when something will happen. Some lady we know years was on YouTube, didn't do anything, was filming her dog. And one day she had a scratch or something. The dog came up and licked it. And she made a 2 or 3 minute video, and it just said, I forgot the dog's name, but doggy licks mommy's boo-boo. 8 million views. And she went from like 1,000. She worked like 5 years, 1,000 subscribers. She went up to 100,000 or something like that. She was just, so it just takes, everybody's like one video away if you just, but
Yeah.
you know, just keep at it. You never know.
It's true, because I've done it a couple of times now on other channels. I've got another channel called For Those Who Surf. I know I haven't filmed on there for a little while, so I've been a bit busy with Marty's garden stuff and been away. But we did one. I think their best one was 22,000. You know, it's not millions, but still pretty good numbers. And you know, we're just putting out a couple of videos a week and getting around about 5,000 views a day. You know, 3,500 to 5,000 over that 48-hour period, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, it's ticking over. And then I think I mentioned the other time last week when I was on, my dad just does a talking video like this. He's got one that's around about 300,000 now. He's 88, just talks on retirement, you know. And so it shows that it can be very, it can be done. It's not just people doing it once and getting lucky, but these, you know, you've got to stick with it for a while to get that result, until eventually you find something that sort of sticks, you know.
Yeah. And my big thing is you're just doing what you love and you're sharing it. And you don't, if you get on and your sole purpose is like trying to make money, you're just going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
But if you get on there and if you're sharing what you love, you help people, you know, people say thank you, you just, you know, do that. And to me, like I said, at the end of the day, then if you don't, like if I put up a video and I might work really hard on it, you know, the little quick ones, you put them up and views, and then you might work really hard on one and then you put it up and it doesn't perform.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like crickets, you know, so, you know, but there was like 3 people on there that it really touched, you know, and it
Right.
really hit home.
Mhm.
Or one person that it did, and he went and told somebody else, and 12 people came to see you just because that one person did. So you just keep putting it out, and you never know. It's just like putting good in the world. The little ripple effect in that.
Yeah.
You drop it, and you might never see what happens way out here, but you just keep steady doing what you're doing, putting good into the world, and then it's going to be coming back to you.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, guys. I do have to go now. I've got some family stuff.
Oh yeah,
I
we're
need to
over
do.
an hour and a half.
But thank you so much for having us on the show, Mike. And
Yeah,
really
appreciate
nice to meet you, Bowtie David. Hopefully
Nice.
we run into each other again soon.
Yeah, nice to meet you too, Marty.
And yeah, look, all the best with everything. And I look forward to having Mike or maybe and maybe yourself at some stage, David, on the channel if we do another live. We do decide to do any live shows. And yeah, God bless everyone.
Cool.
Bye
Marty's
for now.
Marty's Garden channel.
Have a
I'm
blessed day.
gonna do the flexi hand. This is always my outro.
There you go.
Bye for now.
There he goes.
Well, yeah. Enjoyed it, David. I just get to run in my mouth and then
No,
next
I
thing
was
we'll be on it
I'm-
for a couple of hours.
I'm all listening. I'm all ears because I'm still learning. My other channel is a travel channel, and I actually did okay under the old monetization. It's still there. TiggerTravels.com,
Oh, yeah.
I think is what it is. But anyway, it's still out there, and I haven't posted very much to it in a long time. But it's got enough subscribers to be monetized again now. I just
Cool.
gotta get some content edited. But like you said, it's just one thing. I had one video. I had 240,000 views on one
Nice.
video on that channel. Yeah, and it was an hour and 15-minute video, and had like 30% watched.
Yeah.
So that was like wow.
One of mine that has like the most of mine was one that I was kind of messing around when I did it. And it's like that the best one. And that's the one that like takes off, and like YouTube just keeps pushing it out and pushing it out. And,
Yeah.
and you're like, I wish, but then, you can't like take it down or anything and not show it. That's the one that's like driving
Right.
traffic, but it's one that you're like on there and you're like, well, I wish that wouldn't have been the one that like did it, but yours probably, if it's like travel or whatever, but that's what I have. So you never know which one, like I said,
Yeah.
it's just the way it, and the one thing I always say is like, Gary V, he said the market decides,
Mhm.
so we can think and feel, whatever, about all our stuff, but it's when you put it out there, it depends on whether the viewer likes it or not. So
Yeah.
just enjoy the ride because, and
Yeah.
that's why I said it's just real fulfilling, to me and that, and you sound like you're enjoying it too. And then you wouldn't
Oh, I
have been
love
doing
it.
it this long. So, and
Yeah.
trying to grow in Florida and, so,
Well, I did the Tigger Travels I started that about 10 years ago, but I've got one
Yeah.
video now that it's me unboxing a Presto Precise digital pressure canner. It's got 8,000 views. It's average 22% watch time. 22% people watch the full video. And it's like, yeah, just something. And I put out that a long time ago, but I still get comments and conversations on that thing to this day.
oh, cool. Hey, Dwayne, what's up? I check out Dwayne. I think he said he's still doing the grow tubes and trying to expand in Hawaii, where they grow 365 a year. But he made like those end caps and that, where I was like making them for the ends of the downspouts. He actually had some injection molded, and that, so that's pretty cool. That's what the little adapters and that I do
Yeah.
for the things. I looked into it, but it's like, 10 grand or something to get,
The
someone
mold.
over here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
Molds are
I love
expensive.
the 3D printer, because now you have an idea, you go and design it with Tinkercad. It is something, like kids can use.
Mhm.
And, so it's not trying to use a big CAD program.
Yeah.
And then you print it up like, an hour later, you see if it doesn't fit right, you go back, make it a little bigger, make your adjustments. And you can't do that if you sent something off prototype.
Yeah.
It better be right, or you're out that money and you got to try again.
All over. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got, like I said, that's just another, just opportunities are like left and right out here. And it, like, I hear like people suffering in that. And so, you just got to, depends on what kind of work you want to put into it. And And like I said, this, especially the stuff we do, and there's a lot of different topics on YouTube, but I mean, it's really rewarding when you hear people, saying, "Oh, I watch your stuff, and now I'm growing tomatoes, or I'm growing peppers, and that, or I couldn't do this before." And all these people, thank you very much. They're leaving all the kind comments in chat. Y'all are wonderful, and all the new people, hello and welcome. And we hope to see y'all again. I'm gonna let David kind of give, since I run my mouth so much, I'm gonna let David kind of give the closing statements here if he wants to talk about. And I'm going to pull your channel up here for a second so they can see it one last time.
Oh Lord, my closing statement. That's could take about an hour and a half now. I'm talkative. No, just I like to encourage people. I just hope that, like you just said, I just hope someone can find a reason to just grow a single plant, and turn your waiting room into a classroom. We've heard that before, and there's so many things that we can do, no matter where we're at. And you can grow a tiny Tim tomato in your kitchen now, and have some joy in your diet, in your food. And it's so simple. It is just so simple. And if an idiot like me can do it, believe me, anyone else can do it.
Dave, we're competing. I'm striving to be the dumbest gardener in the world. So you're here trying to race me. We're in competition.
Well, so, I'm just amazed. You go out in the garden and, like, holy cow! You can see on my raised garden bed tour, I have a wall of beans back here that Miss Bowtie was out there sitting out in the sun. It's just like this little Zen garden around our sitting area now. And it's like, wow, God made these plants just want to grow. And it's just amazing to see that they just give them a little love and they're going to go crazy. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's and I just like teaching people. It's like we have the continuous harvest system, because I was just having a tough time. I was like I just felt like a failure or whatever. So I know a lot of people out there feel like that. So I'm trying to figure out like the easiest way to get people in there, so they get in early, have a success, and then you can. After you learn what I do and all that, you have questions, then you can go over and David can help you out with the expert stuff.
The comment there from Homer Martinez, I've killed so many plants. And that's so important, because 2 years ago, I killed 216 pepper plants in 1 month. And just destroyed them. And that's the way you learn. There really is no such thing as a failure. There's just learning opportunities. And I learned that I can't put my stuff in the Florida room. I have to put them in the bay window in the dining room, because we walk by it all the time, and I'm always watering it in there. But
right,
you kill the more you do, more plants you kill. And Gardner Scott, he says I've killed more plants than anyone. And how many years has he done this? He's got you and me both beat combined.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so everyone, that's we're gonna be signing off. I appreciate it. Y'all say goodbye. And David, it was good meeting you.
Nice meeting you too.
Anytime you like, just come on back if you want to just chit chat or whatever. Like we said, this is just a real laid back format, no formal interviews. And if you want to bring pictures or do a demo or anything you like, this like the experiment channel.
Love it.
So always love to have you back.
Love it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Y'all have a blessed day.
Good night, everyone. We'll see y'all later. I'll play a little music and y'all can say goodbye. Let's see. I'll get the end stream. Hey.